this is Rod from Rod Talks. I have a special guest today. His name is Michael Malasnik. Did I do it right that time?
I don't remember ever seeing a BL in the beginning.
Well, I think it is a Malasnik.
Moloch?
Moloch? Okay.
No.
Jimmy Page.
Jimmy Page. There we go. Now we're somewhere. You got Jimmy Page here.
So it's Malasnik, right?
Malasnik.
Yeah. You know, we've only known each other for 40 years, and I butcher your name every time.
That's fine, Larry.
yeah, Larry the Reiki guy. Yeah, instead of Larry the cable guy. So yeah, oh my gosh, I'm so happy to have you on. It's been a long time. I think the last time you were on, we were talking about Saturn. Remember that? We had a conversation about Saturn and everything else. And that Michael's been a dear friend of mine. As in my phone, it's Mystic Mike. That's how I have you in my phone. And what do you have in my name for your in the phone?
Rod of God.
Rod of God. Mystic Mike and Rod of God.
What a pair.
That's right. I mean, we should go on the road with this, you know, maybe having some, I can play the banjo really well. So, yep.
Very good.
Yep. I only know one tune at Deliverance, but, you know, but I digress. Okay. And that. So today's topic, so we're going to be talking about some mystery school stuff, right?
Yeah.
We're going to talk about, things just don't feel right in this world, and why are we starting this mystic school? You know, what are we hoping to do with it, and everything else, right? Is that basically what we're talking about?
Absolutely.
Good. You know, by the way, you know, Mike and I have our great, wonderful conversations anyway. So I'm glad you guys are tuning in to hearing this, because we just love to talk to each other. So.
You betcha. And we're going to have a blast with this school. We are going to have a blast.
Yes. So you guys may not know this about Michael. He has, you know, he's a very talented man. He never invites me in his house, and finally he invited me. And see, he invited me for the first time ever in my whole entire life of knowing him. And he's shaking his head. You guys, I know, yeah. It's a podcast, Mike. Most of them can't see you. So yeah, so we're doing a Zoom, but we're doing a podcast too. So Mike finally invites me, and we come over there, and Mike gets his guitar out, and he starts playing this double-decker guitar, and he is blowing me away. I mean, my girlfriend, she's trying to take her clothes off and throw it at him and everything else. And I was like, no, honey, settle down. Yeah, so I hope she doesn't hear that, because she would be very embarrassed that I said that about her.
Oh, yeah, they all do it, Rod. I'm used to it. Yeah. Why do you think I play guitar?
That's a good reason to play guitar, I guess. Awesome. So I'm here at the Reiki Academy, getting ready to do this wonderful podcast with Mike, and we're out of Mercury retrograde, but I have had so much computer issues going on today. I think there's something electronically going on in this world, and I don't know what it is, but I can feel a change. Okay. Have you been feeling the change too? In this world?
Absolutely. And very honestly, there have been M-class solar flares. So the sun, even though we're in a solar minimus, the sun has recently gotten very active, and there's different classes of solar flares. And of course, if a flare shoots off away from the Earth, it doesn't affect us.
Right.
But they have been coming towards the Earth. And according to what I've heard, basically right now, believe it or not, they were saying between Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is when they expect the electromagnetic force to reach Earth. So that makes sense why the computers and phones and everything are going.
Oh, I get that. And, you know, today is a Thursday, and by the time this goes out, it's going to be a Friday or Saturday by the time this comes out. But so it might be over with, but I mean, be over with, Mike?
As far as I know, that's the solar flare. But, you know, the bigger picture, and we'll get into this, is we're in the age of Aquarius. It's an entirely new everything.
Absolutely.
So a solar flare is just a very small thing when you consider we have left the age of Pisces after 2,600 years, or whenever, when Christ was born.
Right.
And that's your fish. And that whole way of living, that whole way of thinking, that whole way of existing that whole way of being a debt slave, that whole way of thinking I am my body and all this stuff around me is real, is going to start fading away. And I think the more in tuned people are feeling it.
Right.
And so I think of it as just like anything. You would be at the head of this pack, but you're ultra sensitive. You're very connected, Rod. So you're going to sense this stuff way, way, way before anybody else does. I'm going to be a little bit behind you, and then there's more and more. But it's getting louder. It's getting louder, Rod. The changes, the weirdness, nothing makes sense. Everything is breaking down.
Yep.
And I'd love to quote Led Zeppelin real quick. Is the new world rising from the shambles of the old? Well, the answer, of course, is yes. And so I think more and more people are starting to scratch their heads and look around and say, this isn't making sense anymore. And that's not the solar flares. That's Aquarius.
Well, it is. I mean, there's a new moon that's coming in right now, and it's in the Sag, right? In the Sag moon. And so you add that, because Sag is all about releasing, letting go, and going forward in that. And we seem like there's a lot of clients that I'm seeing right now, seems like they're feeling like they're running into a block.
Yeah.
And they want to go forward, but there's like, I'm walking in the same, like a cartoon where you walk in the same place constantly. And a lot of my clients are going, what's going on, Rod? Why can't I move forward? And that, and it's not just because of themselves. It's because the new wave, the new energy that's coming through. I believe, this is just a theory, okay, that the vibrational change that is going on right now does not fit the vibrational change of our bodies.
Amen.
And that's why we're not able to walk through some of this stuff, because our vibration does not match what is being sent out or what is out there right now.
I can't agree more. And I would even say it's kind of like if you've had a set of keys to open doors for years, somebody just changed the locks.
There you go. Absolutely.
Right. What used to work no longer does. And this is everywhere, whether you look at government, politics, media, insurance, healthcare. What we've known is crumbling. And again, that I believe is the old age going away to make birth for the new.
Right. And I've been teaching that for years lately, is that the old ways don't work. I mean, I don't even like the old sayings, like what was meant to be, if that was, I guess it wasn't meant to be. I call that an excuse. Okay. I mean, that's what I say, is that that's an excuse. When somebody tells me, well, I guess it wasn't meant to be, I don't believe that. I think we have choices, and we choose either one way or another way. And I think that becomes an excuse. And a lot of spiritual sayings are being used as excuses not to move forward themselves.
Oh, people could use it as a crutch. Absolutely. But also, so for however old people are, that's how long they've been programmed. Right. So you take an old fart like me, so for 53 years, well, I woke up many years ago, but you get the point, You take someone 50 years old, they're used to doing things in a certain way. You think in a certain way, but now the environment, we were taken out of the old petri dish and thrown in a new one.
Absolutely.
And it's either sink or swim. If you don't adapt, you're not going to survive. But on the other hand, if you see this new petri dish for what it is, and you can understand how it works, that's your mystery school. How does this stuff work? Then you can use it to your advantage and your benefit, and you're going to do great.
Absolutely. And thank you, because that's a great segue into why are we creating this mystery school? It's going to start in January of 2022, right? Yep. But it's because we want to help people figure out how things work, right? And it's interesting is that sometimes I channel Christ conscious energy, all right? And I bring that Christ conscious energy through me and while I was channeling one time, he came up to me and he said, Christ conscious energy says, Rod, teach things of pertinency. Okay. Make sure you're teaching things to teach people how to do something.
Amen. Yep.
And he says, a lot of people know how to use a pencil, but they don't know how the pencil's made, but they don't know how to use a pencil that they may have to make themselves. so this to me, it becomes very relevant that if we teach somebody how to do something, they can take it and start changing their own energy and the energy around them and helping themselves even move forward even. And there's a biblical sense that talks about, teach a man how to fish, feed him for the rest of life, that whole saying that. But
Yeah.
in a sense, this is what the mystery school is about, is we're going to teach you how. Right. And well, you're the fabulous mystic Mike. So you're going to be teaching people that how.
Well,
How.
thank you. Howell, honestly, so it's, first you kind of have to break out of the old paradigm, which is the hard part, because again, whether you're 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, whatever, that's how long you've been programmed to think that there is a physical world around you, that you are your physical body, and
Right.
you interact or are a victim of your surroundings. Well, in your mystery schools, it's the exact opposite. That's why I always say it's just the exact opposite of what they tell you or what you're thinking. And that's so
Right.
true. So, in mystery schools, occultism, um, they are huge in symbolism, right?
Right.
So they don't so much teach in words. They do, but it's mainly symbols, and that's how they communicate to the world. So you, as an example, you've got these black cubes of space, these ginormous things all over France, America, Germany, everywhere. Right? Those are symbols. They're telling you that this is Saturn.
Right.
Okay, and that's, we can get into that one at a later time. But more of a relevant one would be, think of your reflecting pools. So think of the Washington Monument, right? It's a freaking obelisk. Let's call it what it is. It's an obelisk. Not that that's a bad thing, but that's your pagan sun god. That's Osiris's penis. We can get into Egyptian lore. But what does it stand before? It stands before a body of water that reflects it. And it shows upside down and reverse. So it's like looking at yourself in the mirror. Okay, fine. So the truth of the matter is, we were raised to see this place inside out and upside down.
Yes.
And so when you do that, that's where you encounter your problems. That's where you're like, this doesn't make any sense. Why doesn't this work? Well, the mystery schools teach you there is no out there. Okay. Your body doesn't exist any more than the computer you're listening to this on, right?
Right. Absolutely.
So, and then you enter quantum physics, and this is where, you've certainly heard me speak. You know how I get into this. The bottom line, right?
Yes.
The bottom line is, once you understand, once it makes sense. Here's the point. You can tell people they don't exist. You can tell people that nothing is solid. You can tell people there is no out there. And you know what? You drink a bottle of wine, smoke a doobie. Yeah, that's good shit. Okay, fine. That's great. It's cool. But what does that really do for you? It does nothing until and unless, bottom line, you understand it. It makes sense. You say, oh, okay, so if this is true and this is true, well, then obviously that must be true. Oh shit, that's opposite of what I've always thought. But once you see it, you'll start to believe it. Once you believe it, then you'll experience it, right?
Right.
And so with the mystery school, what's going to be fun for people is you don't have to spend 40 years because mystery schools are they're not a short-term thing.
No,
you're not spending 40 years studying. You're not trying to memorize symbols. You're not doing any of that kind of stuff. Basically, I'm going to take philosophy, take your Aristotle's and Plato's cave, the allegory of the cave right there. That shows you what I was just talking about, that there is no out there. We're seeing a mirage. We're seeing a reversal of what's happening. You take quantum physics. Quantum physics is incredible stuff, but it proves the mystics correct. And then you look at religion, not a huge fan of the way it's taught. But if you look at the actual, let's say Bible, oh yeah. And mystery schools are big on the Bible. They just interpret things differently, right?
Absolutely.
So that's why blessed is he with eyes that see and ears to hear. So right now, the general population has grown up in the age of Pisces, and they've had the veil of Isis over their eyes, right? It's been a lie. It's been a mirage. Well, now that we're entering the age of Aquarius, which many believe actually officially started in all earnest on December 28th last year, when the last planet transited out of Pisces into Aquarius. So think back to December 21st, right? The whole Mayan calendar thing. Oh my God, it's the end of the world. Well, now wait. It was the end of the aeon, as the Bible would call it. It was the end of the age. And anyone that's into numerology or any of these kind of things knows you don't have a personal year 6, and then on your birthday you're a personal year 7, and everything changes. The old energy bleeds out, the new energy bleeds in. So that kind of puts you in that, you got a foot in the bath and a foot outside of the bath, which is, and if you think of today, this is very timely, the ancient Chinese curse. May you live in.
I was wondering if you're going to say something about that. Say it again. I'm sorry. Say that again.
May you live in interesting times. So the world that we knew, that we grew up in, what do you do? So you get good grades in school, so you can go to college, so you can get a good job, so you can buy a house, so you can get married, so you can have a kid, go into debt and be a slave for the rest of your life until you either die or collect on some kind of social security before you die.
Oh, absolutely.
That's that whole energy, that whole paradigm. Just look at it. People don't want to work right now. People can't. It's just the damnedest thing I've ever seen. I'm from Minnesota. You're in Dakota. We're Midwesterners. You work. It's what you do, right?
Yes.
It's the old world. So you and I, buddy, we got some changes to get used to. We all do. But the point of the story is that way of living, that way of thinking, the way of putting your kid in school and feeling comfortable that they're being taken care of, that they're not being taught bad things. We're just going to leave it there. Right. Those days are now gone. Right. So we have this new world that's coming in. And if you're an early adopter, it's kind of like the people that bought Bitcoin 5 years ago. Holy geez, wouldn't I like to be one of them? But the early adopters would be right now, the people that are sensing there's something not right. So they may not know what it is, Rod. They may not be able to put a finger on it, but like the movie The Matrix, there's a splinter in their brains.
Right.
And that splinter in their brain is saying, this doesn't make sense anymore. So the natural thing is, what does, right? And so the mystery school that we're going to have is going to help people understand where they came from and why. You have to understand why. 2-year-olds aren't the only ones that say why, right? Once you understand why and what, and then you understand the new world, then you can actually use it to your benefit. You have something that you can use, you can do. And it's going to be a blast because the people that are interested in this are going to be way ahead of the curve.
Absolutely.
And are going to be doing great. The people who hold on to the old, it's like clinging onto a sinking ship. It doesn't end well, Rod.
Doesn't end well at all. Absolutely. And it's interesting is that you say that because this is what we're experiencing in now,
Yes.
And us, the awakened people that are running around, I mean, we're experiencing a lot of this interesting concept that we're seeing things fall and the old ways of thinking doesn't work. I mean, for years I've been telling everybody, you come into my class, pretend your head is the etch and sketch and shake your head. Yep. And erase everything you already know, and we're going to plant some new seeds in you. And this is that theory that I think that you're going to, is that let's plant some new theories, new ideas. Let me show you how things are actually working and how you can live in that life that way, right?
Absolutely, because it's the mechanics of things. I like to say you don't need to know how to build a car to drive one, right? Okay. Yep. But you do have to have the keys to start the damn thing.
Right.
Okay? So again, a true, real mystery school, you're 20, 30, 40 years. I mean, a lot of the people in my mystery school are in their 70s and 80s, and they've been doing this, I just see that's an old world thing too. People don't have the time. They don't have the interest. They want the knowledge.
Right.
We all want stuff now. We want, I don't want to wait for the Amazon to deliver it. I'm just going to download it right now. Okay.
Yep.
I get that.
Yep. Age of information,
It's the age of information. I get that. And so I think if we boil things down to, look, here's how this place works. Once people can, it all comes down to they have to understand it, because once you understand something, then you believe it. Once you believe it, you see it, which goes right back to what I'm saying. Everything is upside down. You don't see things to believe it.
Right.
You believe things and then you see it.
See it.
And that's your true mystery school. It's projecting. So let me just give you a great example real quick. And I love this. One of the leaders of my ministry, love the man to no end. His name's Len. He's got to be 87. So there you go. That's right. That's how these people are. But anyway, he came over once and he brought a book he thought that I would enjoy. He said, I don't show this book to many. And that's one of the things with mystery schools. They last forever and a day because they don't want to give all this information to people who are just going to come in, take it and run. Right. You've got to show and prove that you deserve it, right? Well, he showed me this book. He was very kind in doing so. And he says, this is, I forget the name of it, but he says, this is a very, very occult book, very, very limited production. So anyway, I looked through it and I came to a page that had I don't know the name of the triangle, but it's the one where it kind of goes off long on the top and the bottom goes, it's almost like a flag or something. It's a triangle.
Yeah.
You know, okay. Well, anyway, it's not an isosceles, but it's something like that.
I think it's Pink Floyd.
Pink Floyd. It was a Pink Floyd triangle. You know, every time I listen to Pink Floyd, I see things. But now that's another story.
That's a whole other story.
But here's how the occultists look at it. So you have super consciousness, which is God, energy, the all, Allah, whatever you want to call it. I think everybody knows what that is. So you've got super consciousness that is received by your subconscious. Okay. Your subconscious picks up on what the super consciousness downloads. So that can be where you're saying God has put you here for a reason, right? Mm-hmm. So the experiences that you're having, the people you're meeting, all the stuff that's being, presented to you is from God, source, energy, whatever you want to call it. But it is downloaded directly into your subconscious. Your subconscious then projects it out there, and I'm doing this in air quotes, out there for your self-consciousness to perceive, okay? Right. So that reminds me of Bashar. Bashar, Daryl Anka. He channels Bashar, right?
Yes, yep.
So his
way of not confused with Captain Picard.
Not Picard or even Bashar in Syria. No, this is the little bald dude that's funny.
Yeah, the funny guy. Yes,
the funny guy. But he says your higher mind conceives. So just put this over the occultism. So here's somebody that would be more of a modern day, what we would call New Age. And from an occult standpoint, we're not impressed with New Age stuff. I mean, it gets people in the right direction, but it's still not there. Right. And it's not there for a reason. Okay. Yep. Okay. But anyway, if you superimpose him over the true occult teachings, your higher self conceives of everything. Any idea, thought, anything you think you've ever done came from that. Your personal body, what you think of as you, receives the information, or your subconscious receives it, and then you perceive what happened, okay, in past tense. So in reality, we are projecting the world we're experiencing from a subconscious level, just like you're not thinking, okay, heart beat, blood pressure, keep it this, temperature. No, that's all subconscious. That's being done.
Absolutely.
You only become conscious of it when you observe it.
Exactly.
And that brings in quantum physics, your double slit experiment. Yep. Nothing exists in the place that you think it does until you observe it, when you collapse the wave function into a particle. Absolutely. So think of the unseen and the seen. Oh God, Rod, I could go on for hours on this.
And it's really interesting. I love this concept because My grandfather always, that was one of his things. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not there. That was my grandfather that taught me that. And he always taught me about, he used Christopher Columbus for example, as he came over here, he landed, and a shaman says, "How did you get here?" And in his own language, drawing and everything else. And Christopher Columbus points out to the ocean and says, "From those ships." Well, he's never seen a ship, so he didn't know what a ship looked like. So he did not see anything out there.
Sure. Yeah.
So they rolled him out to it and let him touch the ship. And as soon as he touched it and he understood it, he saw the whole ship. Now that's a perception, because now he's seen it through his own eyes, but he never has seen anything like that before. So his perception made it and created it the way he saw it, not how anybody else sees it. So in even using that aspect, that saying that, all right, so this water jug here, that if somebody said that's a glass all your life, your perception, that's going to be a glass. That. So we can ever get angry at somebody's perception, how they see things, correct?
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Yes.
There's so many, and see, that's one of the things that I've always loved is how many times have you heard me say, seek the truth, it hides in plain sight.
Yes.
There's something, I don't know what the deal is, but more and more people seem to be coming to my way of thinking, which is the powers that be, whoever's running this place, okay, and we're talking on a physical level now,
right,
can pretty well do whatever they want to us, but they have to show us. Look at all the movies, the video games, the TV shows. They have to show you what we're doing. And I believe the idea is they have to gain our consent. We buy the book, we buy the video game, we pay the movie tickets, right? And then they gain our consent through that, and then they do it.
Right, absolutely. But doesn't make sense to me is that if they have that much control and we're given all this consent, can't they normalize something that we don't agree with? And they start making it normal and making it feel like it's normal by showing it over and over?
Well, that's social programming. That's, yeah, of course. So think of UFOs.
Right.
So why do you think that they've been ramping up the whole UFO stuff over the years, right? It's to desensitize and to program people into accepting it. Now, I'm going to go off on a tangent here. Some people
might hold my ears. Is it going to be PG?
No, it'll be fine.
Okay.
But how big is this whole zombie thing? Right? I mean, everything is, the Walking Dead, Resident Evil, I can name countless movies. Why are they doing that? And then you say, okay, why on earth would the CDC have a zombie apocalypse preparedness page on their website? Really, Rod? The CDC.
Sorry, I'm laughing. Sorry.
Well, we could all say a lot of things about them right now, but we won't, because we'll keep it PG. But the bottom line is, what the hell is a government agent? Well, they're not even government. That's not even true. So what the hell is an organization that profits by pushing vaccines doing with a zombie preparedness website? Or it's a page on there. Do you see where I'm going with this?
I know exactly. Yes.
So, and you can look at zombies metaphorically. You can say, okay, so you think of somebody, maybe they don't have rotting skin. Maybe, their arm hasn't fallen off and they're not eating, people in the streets, but they don't exist. They're a shell. You know what I'm talking about? They just move throughout life. They just bounce in the wall.
Yep.
They're zombies. They're gone. Their mind's not working.
Yeah, a lot of brain fog going on. And I have to go with the infrasound, and you and I have talked about infrasound, and and I have to go with the infrasound of creating such a brain fog in that out there in the testing of infrasound. But we digress. Just a little disclaimer is that we neither, we're not going to talk about politics, religion, or that aspect, our vaccines. Okay. No, we agreed on that. So.
Well, yeah, and there's no,
because we're neutral in that aspect. We let everybody have their own choices. Everybody has their own choices. Yeah,
that's a whole separate. Yeah, I see that as a whole separate issue. I don't.
that
I don't
is, that's just,
so,
yeah. Well,
so
yeah.
even before, if so go back years ago. Okay, let's go back to what used to people used to consider, the good old days or the normal world. There were still zombies, right? You had people that weren't conscious, and so, but they've been showing us in the movies. They've been showing us you see what I mean? There's a reason. There's something coming up. There's something
Right.
going on out there.
Absolutely.
And you can even look at it from a metaphysical standpoint. Again, the people who are not awake, right? The
Right.
people that are going to cling onto that sinking ship, the physical reality, I got to work for a living. Just think about that. You say things like, well, hi, nice to meet you. Who are you? People will immediately say, oh, well, I'm a mom of three, or I'm a firefighter, or, I sell insurance. Okay, that's what you do. That's
Right.
what you do.
But
Who are you? Who are
Right.
you? They
But see,
have no clue.
right. But you grew up in the Midwest also, that what you do is who you are, right?
That's true.
My
But that's
father, a
everybody.
milkman. That's all he was known as, is the milkman.
Right.
And you start labeling things and you're putting ceilings on things because that's all he's known as. That's all the energy is going to be given to. He's always going to be the milkman and nothing else.
And when you name something, you limit it.
Right. And that's Taoism. What Taoism says is that once you call me, limit me by calling my name. So
yeah,
I don't want to limit anything, the sky isn't the limit, the universe isn't the limit, it's beyond, I have no box, it's like, look outside the box. Well, there's no such thing to me as a box, so.
Well, okay, now you're getting down my alley there.
I knew you were going to pick up on that.
I'm going to pick. Okay, so think outside the box.
Right.
Okay. The box is a cube.
Right.
The cube of space is Saturn. Saturn is Satan. Satan rules this earth, and I saw him fall from the sky, right?
Right.
Okay. So thinking outside the box, we were put in a box. That's the programming, okay? And so all the stuff going on these days, a lot of people are coming to the conclusion, and I agree with them. The changes going on aren't just geopolitical. This is good versus evil.
Right.
I mean,
Absolutely.
This, and so as above, so below. Okay. And so as above, so below, so within, so without.
Yeah.
That again gets back into that triangle, right? I'm telling you, it's so obvious how this place works. And so how often do you see triangles? How often do you see the number 33, right? They're telling us stuff, Rod.
Oh,
but
absolutely.
But to think outside the box, I think that's the idea of the mystery school. So first, and here's the first step. First, you have to understand that you're in the box. If you can't see the box, how are you ever going to think, how do I get out of it? Right?
Right.
And so what's happening in this new age of Aquarius is the veil, Isis,
right?
The veil is being lifted, right? So
Correct.
You pull back the curtain and whoa, I didn't know that was back there. And so that's a process. It's a process. And I think not everybody, just to be honest, is meant to evolve.
Right.
I think a lot of people are meant to, they were born into this old world and they're going to die in this old world.
Absolutely.
That's not a good or bad statement. It just is.
Right.
But you've got the people, and these are your people, Rod. The people that
wait. Why are you calling it my people?
Well, okay, so the people that go see you and they're in your classes and
right.
Okay, but they're awake. They understand.
Oh God. Okay. It's like I thought I like owned them or
something.
No.
So in other words, okay, right? Okay, so somebody, right? Okay, so the people that are going to see you are spiritual. They know that there's more to this place. They understand that there is an unseen, right? That is more powerful than the seen. I'm going to say in mystery school and occultism, everything comes from the unseen,
right,
and returns to the unseen.
Correct.
Here's a saying you may know: ashes to ashes, dust
Dust
to
to
dust.
dust.
Okay. So if you look at quantum physics, all right, so the bottom line of reality, and if you just want to bottom line it, cut to the chase, reality is nothing more than some form of self-aware and conscious electromagnetic field. Okay, you can call it a field of consciousness, you can call it a super field, it makes no difference, but it's a non-physical thing. And when you observe it, right, when you observe it, that's collapsing that wave function and turning it into a particle, or what are called atoms. Atoms are what make everything up that we think is solid, right? Well, it's long been known, and I believe roughly the 30s, if not 30s, certainly the 40s, they've known that atoms are 99.9 to the 12th power empty. You tell me how on earth something can be solid if it's made out of soap bubbles, for lack of a better explanation, right?
Right.
And so, and once you understand this and you grasp this, it turns your life upside down, inside out. And I'm just going to tell you, it's when I woke up in 2007, it's a painful experience, because the first thing that you realize is my entire life has been a lie. I have been lied to by my parents, my grandparents, my teachers, my neighbors, my girlfriend, my husband, right? And then you start to get to the point where you're like, wait a minute, everything is a lie. This whole place is a lie. And then once you start digging into it, you say, well, okay, well then, if things really aren't solid, right? If people out there aren't really separate and different from me, how does this place work? You get into that, now you're lost. Okay.
Absolutely.
Doesn't Christ say that you will find him through losing yourself?
Absolutely.
Lose yourself and you will find me.
Yep.
Well, I got to tell you, I went through it. He's telling the truth. Yep. Dude's right. And, you know, so you kind of first have to, and this is alchemy, but this is where fire comes from.
Right.
So fire gets rid of the illusion. Fire burns whatever it is, you know, a tree, a book, a TV, whatever you're burning.
Right.
It brings it down to ash. So we're back to that ash. And then soon ash what? Disappears. It's gone. It's unseen. So you go through a period of understanding that you've been lied to. Nothing is all what you thought it was. And it's painful. I'm going to tell you right now, it's not fun, but it's the necessary breaking the egg if you want to make an omelet. If you want to stay an egg, great. But I'm telling you, things are going to get tough in this new world.
Absolutely.
I'd rather be an omelet. You know, with good goat's cheese and hot sauce. And, you know,
yum.
You know, and a nice.
Make me hungry now.
But you get the point. But once you understand you're in the box, okay, you see the prison bars, you understand what it is, what the box is made out of, why you're in the box, how the box works. Then you can start looking at getting out of it. And that's a whole new, and I'm sorry, but I'm going to point to religion again. That's being born again.
Yep.
Right? Because you were born into the Matrix.
Yep.
Now you're being born into the real world. It's the movie The Matrix. And just for your viewers, you and I have spoken on this.
Yep.
It's amazing how many occultists, your Masons, your Rosicrucians, Bodas, all that stuff. And these are generally people in their 70s and 80s. But they have said over and over, I cannot believe that movie was allowed to be released. And they're talking about the first one because of how true it is and how, you know, you have to have eyes that see, right? I mean, most people just watch it. Okay, that's cool. That's fine. Well, you take somebody after 30 years of mystery school, they watch it and like, Jesus, God, I can't believe they showed that, right? Because you get it. And so here's just a fun little thing I would say to your viewers, and I'm going to hand this over to you. I've been babbling for too long, but you know, I highly recommend people watch the first Matrix. Right. Okay. And the best way I can describe it, this is going to be kind of crude or it's going to strike you as a little bit odd, but I guarantee you it's going to get the job done. Watch the movie and take it literally. Take it literally, like this is really possible. This is really happening.
Take it as a documentary.
Yes, take it as a documentary. The occultists certainly do. And once you do that, that's going to start really kinking your brain. You're going to have to, well, wait a minute, then how does this work? And how does that work? And again, the point of our school that we're going to have is to show people how this stuff actually physically works. I hate to use physically. But once you understand, it makes sense. It goes out of being that airy, fairy, nebulous, oh, right. Yeah, well, everybody's one and it's all love. Yeah, great. Well, once you understand how that stuff really works and what it really means, now you can use it.
Right.
Matches do you no good until you light them.
Right. Absolutely. You know, it's and thank you so much for that. You know, outside the box thing. I love it. You know, it brought me back to memory. I grew up a very religious in South Dakota. You know, grew up in church and everything else. Now,
don't you know?
Don't you know? And one day the minister was talking about the ashes, dust to dust, is where we come from, blah, 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 you know, his whole sermon. And I asked him later, I says, it's an interesting concept. And I'm like 10 years old, I says, but it's an interesting concept that if you mix ashes with water and soak hide in it, it actually takes all the hair and skin off of the hide.
Really?
And the fat, yeah. So it becomes a very toxic thing. I mean, I grew up knowing this, right?
Ah.
So I asked him what this had to do with the ashes and that, and in the concept of water. And I never ever got an answer to that. It took me a long time. I got my doctorate in theology and that, and I even asked my theology teachers and everything else that nobody could really say, well, I don't understand the concept of what you're trying to get to, but I'm trying to say is that ashes can be very toxic in a sense.
They're acidic, I think.
Yes, very acidic and toxic too. If you get the film as it's working, that you will pass out basically, because it's horrible. It smells terrible. And I'm trying to get this concept, understanding this and that. And I never got the idea until as I got older and realized that what it's doing is it's burning the toxicity off of us to renew and reborn us. And that's why that is so toxic, ashes are.
That's an interesting concept. I can see that. I can see that.
It's just, I always had questions. We were asked never to come back to that church many times because I always had questions, and I'm finding out that some of my questions now are actually hitting the mainstream, which I love.
Yes.
I mean, think about my thought there was that when the ark was built, right? And I told my minister in front of the whole congregation that there was not enough space in the ark to fill all the animals. And I said, my theory is that it was DNA that was put in the ark, not animals. And I had that theory, and I've had this thought ever since I was a little kid. Well, now they're actually thinking about this and saying, hey, there's this possibility that DNA was carried on this ark to help renew the earth again.
Interesting. Okay, I have not thought of that. That's interesting.
And but this is the thing and idealism of what we want to try to teach people is to think for yourself. If you have questions about life and you don't really things just don't seem to work for you, and right, I think this is what the mystery school, and I'm also starting a Wednesday spiritual study class. I mean, these are the things that we're going to actually let people be free thinkers and show people how things work, right, in a sense, and then let them use their own mind to guide them to where they need to go with it.
You're teaching them how to fish. That's it.
And that's the way we started this whole conversation is, it came all back around is that we're teaching people how to fish. And that's one of the most amazing things that I think anybody could ever do for somebody is teach them how to fish in their own mind.
I'm really liking this teaching how to fish thing, Rod. That's but it's so true. And if you think about it, it's the anti-religion, because what is religion? It's dogma.
Right.
When do you ever question the priest or the minister or you don't. They just
Nope.
tell you what they want you to think,
Right.
right?
Yep.
And no, I think part of the benefit of these classes is you're going to have a bunch of free thinkers anyway, right? The people that are living in the box aren't going to be interested, right? They're going to be watching, TV or doing whatever they're doing.
Right.
They're not going to be interested in this. So
Yep.
you're going to have like-minded people.
Right.
And here's something else very fascinating. I am getting, and right now, because I've got, all these open enrollments going on right now, the amount of people I'm talking to is ridiculous. And I'm noticing trends. You know me very well. My brain connects dots. I can't help it. I connect dots. And I am getting a lot of people now just throwing little nuggets, just something that would be odd, just to see how I react to it. And, I'm going to be me, and I'm just going to say what I'm going to say. And I can't tell you how often I hear, "Oh, God, thank you, Michael. You're one of us. We can talk to you." They're like, "We're so sick of these zombies." Everybody, And so I think that's another thing happening right now, Rod. And that's another great reason why the timing for what we're going to do is so good. People are starting to look for like-minded individuals. They're understanding, hey, look, I'm awake. I'm seeing this. I may not have all the answers, right? Even I don't. You might. I don't. But you get the no, okay. But anyway, the point of the story is like-minded people are trying to get together.
Right.
In other words, you don't need the people that are all negative and all locked into the matrix. We've had enough of that. We know where that has brought us. It's time for something new and something better.
Absolutely.
And so I think right now, Rod, with your teachings in the mystery school, it's going to attract like-minded people that are going to not only think similar, they're going to have similar questions, right?
Right.
I can see a community coming out of this. And part of what's going on in the world is there's a term called devolution. Which is the breaking down, right? Okay, it's the breaking down of the current system to reorganize. Well, okay, not that I've ever been a financial type of guy, but the best way I look at cryptos is cryptocurrencies are the stocks of the companies of the future.
Of the future,
okay?
Yes.
Right? So these companies, whether it's Binance or Ethereum or Bitcoin or Cardano, any of these things, they're decentralized.
Correct.
Okay, they're decentralized. Stocks would be the companies that are centralized, right? So that whole social order, I guess, is where I'm going with this. The whole social order is in decay. So if you look at just how things are breaking down, supply chains, prices for things, people can't afford to fill up a Suburban like they used to, right? And go on, so things are changing and we're being forced to change. And I think the people that are awake, right, that have that splinter in their brain, they're smelling it.
They're smelling it.
They don't understand it fully, but they're smelling it and they want to understand it.
Right.
And I think it's going to be a great way to meet new people that are like-minded. I see a lot of great new friendships.
Yep.
And I can see a bigger, community arising. I'm not talking January or February, but you get the point. I think we're moving into a huge new world, and we're at the very beginning of it.
Absolutely. Michael, I appreciate you all the time. I appreciate you being on my podcast as many times as you have been. It's not been enough, that's for sure. I can't wait to see, the beginning of this mystery school and how it's going to all turn out. Make sure everybody checks out ReikiRod.com to find out where the heck when this school is starting and what was going to be the first classes. You're just going to be excited. I mean, like us, we're excited about it too. So, Michael, where can they find more information about you?
I guess my website, eyesthatseek.com. And you can reach me through that. And I would just want to say that my pride of that is words of wisdom. I'm not the smartest guy out there, but I'm at least smart enough to know who is. And if you learn from people who are smarter than you, boy, you get smart quick. And so I have got all the questions, who am I? Why are we here? What is this place? Blah, blah, blah. And it's all the quotes and sayings from scientists, quantum physics, Buddhas, right? Just any kind of philosophical mystery school, religion, answering those questions. And I got to tell you, I really recommend people go to my website, look at those questions. It's not me answering them, right? It's Jesus, it's whomever it is. And you'll see the answers are clear. They've been telling us for years, but we haven't seen it. We haven't heard it.
Exactly.
It's that looking at the boat that you don't understand, you can't see it. But now the veil is lifting because we are leaving Pisces, going into Aquarius. Now's the time things are going to make sense. And boy, it's going to be a whole new world.
It is.
A good one.
Yep. Before I go, I want you to tell me, do you like my shirt?
I love your shirt. Thank you.
Thank you.
That is cool. That's nice.
For the people that can't see it, that it's a bunch of thank yous, kind of like the dollar store bag thank yous, and that's what my shirt looks like, a dollar store bag. And that's, that has no recollection of who I am, but I'm just saying I enjoy this shirt. Thank you.
It's funny you say that, because to be honest with you, I kind of remember, do you remember going to movies in the 70s, right? And in the beginning, they would, have whatever comes out at you.
Yep.
So for those of you who've done acid or shrooms, they're called tracers. But anyway, I wouldn't know personally. No, that's what I heard. It looks like tracers. It's cool. I really like it.
I really like it too. It's a pretty cool shirt. I'm gonna have to get you one too, Mike. And that's
you will.
Yeah, absolutely. I want everybody to check out the website, reikirod.com, and Mike's website of eyesthatseek.com. Yeah, it's I'm sure you're going to hear more with Michael and I of doing some really wonderful, beautiful things. There's a lot of great classes at Reiki Academy in Phoenix, Arizona. There's a millions classes that we have going on here. I have a lady that wants to do a belly dancing class, and I'm sure Mike is going to be one of the first ones to sign up for it. So,
who doesn't want to see my belly?
Me, but that's okay. No, I'll buy you a shirt. So.
Oh, okay. A long one that'll go over my belly, I'm sure.
I'm positive. So this is Rod Talks in Phoenix, Arizona, and it's always a pleasure to have Michael on, and we'll all see you later. Peace. Have a good night.